Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Easter weekend is behind us now, although a lot of people are having today off, including my granddaughters, which I'm looking forward to seeing them. A lot of wind over the weekend. The dinner table is set, as Captain Mommy Tillett would always say, for lots of fishing opportunity. And I'll tell you what's going on, what we missed out on over the weekend. I'll be right back.
Red Drum Tackle in Buxton is the oldest complete tackle shop at Cape Hatteras. And being the closest tackle shop to Cape Point, Red Drum Tackle has been welcoming fishermen to Hatteras Island with a wide selection of bait and tackle, skilled custom rod builds, rod and reel repair, expert knowledge and information since 1974. Red Drum Tackle knows how, when, and where to fish. To acquire this fishing brain power, visit them online at reddrumtackle.com. Red Drum Tackle, the oldest complete tackle shop at Cape Hatteras and the closest to Cape Point in Buxton.
Let's be real. No one wants to deal with nasty varmints like mice, roaches, creepy crawlies, and critters. Leave that work to the experts at Outer Banks Pest Control. Outer Banks Pest Control is the best on the beach when it comes to eradicating those unwanted creatures. They've been in business for over 25 years with well over 100 years of combined exterminating experience. Specializing in both commercial and residential properties, Outer Banks Pest Control has all the tools and equipment necessary to take on any pesky job. They pride themselves on top quality customer service and workmanship. Hey, if the trucks ain't red and yellow, it just ain't the right fella. Outer Banks Pest Control, the best on the beach with a proven track record of excellence since the year 2000 and online at outerbanks-pestcontrol.com.
So I was talking to Captain Ron Whitaker on the release out of Hatteras, and he was telling me he talked to another old friend of mine, Ferris, down in Ocracoke. And Captain Ferris was out around the inlet and saw big king mackerel skyrocketing down that way. So that's encouraging. I don't get many reports out of Ocracoke, but, they're going to get everything ahead of us. And we have seen some of the first king mackerel of the year caught, but they had a windy go of it for Hatteras over the weekend. And we really didn't have anybody getting out. But there are king mackerel showing up in bigger numbers really every day. And they all also have had blackfin tunas and some of the first wahoo of the year. But really, the only thing Rom could share with me was there was some wreck fishing going on. This would be in the ocean, and they caught some drum there, and they had some boats back in the sound too, but we'll get to that in the backcountry report. The Oregon Inlet Fleet, they fished Saturday, and they really had a tough go of it. It was rough, and the tuna fishing was not as good as it was on Friday. But they still came up with 6 or 8 tuna to the boat. There's still some bluefin tuna around as well, and they're now starting to catch a few wahoo in their catches. But we needed to calm down a little bit to get back on that gravy train. The reason the tuna didn't bite as well Saturday, and I couldn't find a report for Sunday, but looking at the way the wind blew over this way, I'm doubting anybody got out. But the current started running really strong. Okay, so we know the Gulf Stream is a current. It's a river in the ocean. But when that current gets running really strong, the tuna will go down deep, and they'll get in what's the Labrador current, which is running in the opposite direction. It goes to the south. And they'll go down there to get out of that hard surface current. And that's why the fishing was a little bit slower over the weekend on the yellowfin tuna. But they are here. End of last week, we had really nice dockfuls of tuna, and there'll be more of that to come this week, I'm sure. Oregon Inlet Fleet also, in their inshore catches, so a pretty good sign of these 2 to 6 pound bluefish outside the inlet. That's encouraging. I haven't heard anything else about any nearshore bluefins, but these are bluefish, 2 to 6 pounder. And don't turn your nose up when I say that, because Captain Dickie Harris and I were just talking last night. I'd like to have a piece of fresh bluefish right now, especially the 2 pounders. Really good if they're kept on ice and eaten fresh. And the bigger ones are good too. I got a lot of different ways of eating those. Smoked, they're absolutely delicious, but you can also use the Hatteras style drum recipe for the larger bluefish. More about that in another episode. So what else we got? Closer to the beach, there's some big drum, a big red drum, and some big black drum being caught. I mean, some big black drum. Not lots of them, but they're there. And we're seeing the slot-sized puppy drum. We're seeing the same 2 to 6 pound bluefish in some catches. They're still catching a few sea mullet. Although right now, a lot of the interest is on the bigger fish. And mostly that is centered around the red drum. And we're seeing them all the way up to 44, 46 inches. And then again, the black drum I saw, I don't know what the inches were, but they were 30 pounders. They were like a really nice quality fish. And I mentioned the sea mullet, and there's a few other things being caught, small sharks, some bottom fish off the piers. Puppy drum, by the way, on the Bonner Bridge Pier, thanks to Tony Lombardi from walkingangler.com, a good place to go for all of y'all that don't have boats to learn what your opportunities are on the Outer Banks. That's walkingangler.com. But they've been catching pretty good on the puppy drum on the Bonner Bridge Pier right there at Oregon Inlet. It's free, it's long, and it's in one of the best fishing places you could ever hope to go fishing. It's almost like a combination between an ocean pier and a backcountry type setting. And sheephead and puppy drum are two of the main things you're going to catch there. We'll talk more about the sheephead in the backcountry report, and I'll be back to do that in just a moment.
Join the crew of the Miss Oregon Inlet 2 for an Outer Banks fishing trip that's fun for the whole family. Located at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center and running 3 trips a day, their spacious 60-foot headboat can accommodate up to 65 people. The Miss Oregon Inlet 2 crew can get you all rigged up to catch a variety of fish in the ocean and the Sound, but they're famously known as the Flounder Pounder. For more information on how you can hop aboard, go online to missoregoninlet.com. The Miss Oregon Inlet 2, an Outer Banks experience that's sure to create a lifetime of memories.
So in the backcountry report, now we're seeing some big drum being caught in the Sound. There are not lots of them, but a lot of people are catching a few of the big drum and a good showing of puppy drum. And this is in many areas. Ron Whitaker, again, as I mentioned in the earlier part of this report, was telling me that those guys are back in the Sound and they're doing really well on mixed size drum, but a lot of them are slot size or bigger. They also are catching the aforementioned 2 to 6 pound bluefish that are swimming around, and the big sheephead bite is really good. There were a couple of 10 pounders caught yesterday. That's a really big, hard pulling, strong fish, and the sheephead fishing, we're already off to a great start on that. If you don't know how to go fishing for sheephead, I would suggest one of the quickest ways to shorten the learning curve is to go with a licensed backcountry guide with a reputation working through one of the marinas. Be careful. You want to make sure that who you're going with is legit, but do your due diligence and go out there and let them and see how it's done. Short of that, you need a couple things. You need some live crabs if you can get them. That's one way. Fiddler crabs or oyster crabs. You need some structure, bridge piling. The more barnacles and the older it is, the better. Any kind of piling. Or there's a lot of reefs now that are being built by the state with rocks and oyster shells that are really, really also holding a lot of sheephead. And one other secret ingredient. You need a good flat-nosed shovel, like a snow shovel. Why? Because when you're tied up to those bridge abutments or the pilings, reach down there and knock off the barnacles with that shovel, and you talk about really good chum that'll drive the sheephead crazy. That's one way of doing it. So that's pretty much it. Again, things have really gotten quiet on the freshwater part of the backcountry report. I'm not really sure why that is, but it's kind of a secretive fishery anyway. We've already been through a good crappie bite. I think that's an oxymoron. I guess I should say a good speckled perch bite. And we had a real good run on the bass fishing about 3 weeks ago, but it got a lot quieter of late. So if anything changes, I'll let you know. But that's our fishing report for today. I do hope that you had a happy Easter. I know I sure did. Spent a lot of time working in the garden. And to me, with nice warm temperatures ahead of us for the next week, I think it's go ahead, full metal jacket, getting out in that garden and Plant everything you got. Throw it all in the ground right now, because I think we're good to go. The danger of frost is behind us, and we're looking forward to growing some good, fresh-eating garden vegetables. Have a great day, and God bless.